What is up, guys? Brian here with a BeyondLink trees or Kandura guide for getting under 7 minutes. So as always with any dungeon, before you enter you want to cast your buffs in the lobby, spec out if you don't want to keep the buff and you want to go into full DPS build. It's up to your discretion. One thing you can do while you're waiting for the platform is to jump off, take a little bit of damage, but ads will spawn instantly so you can attack them as soon as the platform gets within range. Also, I recommend upgrading your weapon to either 11 or 12 or even further before attempting this dungeon, as it is the hardest one available currently. And it makes the second phase much smoother if you have the proper gear. So, first phase, you have the 2 ads that spawn. Your goal for this is to either kill both ads or lower Kandura's HP below 90%. What you can do for party composition is either split 3 and 1, 3 to the left, 1 to the right, or 2 and 2. Or I guess you can do 1 3, doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. These ads have fast attack animations and they hurt, so you need to practice to learn how to dodge them efficiently. A piece of knowledge that you can use to help with this is that ads will always target someone, right? Their aggro is always going to be on one of the players on that side of the map. You could use this information to judge where the attack will be and dodge accordingly. So both ads will do some charging attacks. If they slick back their hair, kind of like rub their head, it's going to be a long dash. Just get out of the way. The differences in attacks between these 2 ads is that the left one does a debuff breath like Balrog. It's not really possible to dodge it unless you get lucky with guessing. And the right ad, Series S, will try to grab you and pile drive you. That one's very hard to avoid in some situations and it hurts a lot, especially while Kandura is also attacking you. The right ad also does a tornado suction effect, and at the end of that animation he will try to grab someone in melee range and pile drive him into the ground. Want to avoid all the attacks as much as possible, but it can be tough. Especially when Kandura jumps down and he's doing his own attacks. Platforms are very small. It can get quite chaotic. It's group preference whether you want to focus on killing the ads or lowering Kandura's HP to 90%. I would suggest if your gear level is exceptionally high, such as 13s and 14s, you focus on Kandura. But also depends on the RNG of whether he jumps down, whether he jumps down to the side you're on, or the other side, and other factors such as that. We typically go for killing the ads because it's more consistent. We can kill them fairly quickly, as you'll see in this video. So that's why we decided to go with that. You can jump between these 2 platforms with a well-timed mount jump, although it's a very difficult jump to make. So let this phase play out. Right there, you just try to grab someone no one's in the way, so you can get the grab off, which is nice. So there's a tornado suction as well on top of the Kandura red tile attack. That's annoying. Not much you can do about it. Dodge it to the best of your ability. So the stairs will spawn to go to phase 2 when he jumps away. So as you watch him jump off, there it goes, and stairs spawn. Again, use ground mounts to move between phases. Speed up your clears.
I need more stamina.
So we'll talk about this phase before it starts, then we'll watch it. Number 1 thing to point out for this phase is to not ignore the ads. I have seen so many people and heard so many stories of people going in pugs or just random groups going where they just straight up ignore the ads. That is absolutely, without a doubt, 100% the wrong way to do this boss. If you ignore the ads, this phase will suck. You will hate this dungeon, you will hate this phase, and just all around you're going to have an awful time. Do not ignore the ads. Now again, you'll see one of our members, the Runeblader, walks up to the boss to initiate the fight sequence. It's typically what you want to do when bosses phase in this game. A few things to point out here. First, we'll start out with ad spawn locations. Ads can spawn underneath the ground in the center. underneath the ground on the left. They can spawn up on the left, up on the right. They can spawn on the outside of the center of this map, and they can spawn in the passageways to other portions of the map. Now, the reason why you don't want to ignore the ads is that occasionally he will use an attack that debuffs 2 people with a purple ball and gives the other 2 people a red attack buff. Now, if you have this purple damage over time debuff, you do not help kill the ads. You stay away from the ads. If you get attacked by an ad with having that debuff, your spirit gets locked and you get an accuracy debuff. The people who don't have the debuff are the ones that should be killing the ads. Occasionally, ads will spawn where he hasn't cast the debuff, so no one has it. In that case, whoever's the closest can go kill them. Now, what can happen is that people that are in the process of killing the ads get the debuff during it, and they can no longer kill the ads because their spirit's locked and they have no accuracy. That's fine. It happens sometimes. It's unlucky. Just call out in your party that it happened, that you can't kill the ads, and someone else who doesn't have the debuff has to go over and help clear the ads. Now, sometimes groups of ads will spawn in one of the 3 corners of the map. Always pay attention to your mini-map to see where they spawn. And 2 people will have the debuff, 2 people will have the red attack buff. You'll see this in the video. I get the red buff, I go straight to the ads. What you want to do is if you have the purple debuff and you're in the middle fighting the boss, you want to be aware of what direction those ads are in, and you want to avoid their dark spear-like attacks that come from that direction, because you do not want to get that spirit lock. Typically what I would do is if the boss jumps to that area where the ads spawn, is I'll stay back if I have the purple debuff, wait for all the ads to get aggro on the people clearing them, or for them to die before I go in, because getting hit by that spirit debuff is such a big hassle. It's a big pain. Several attacks he can do in this phase. We'll see when he starts out with a slam, right? Fairly easy to dodge, either dash perpendicular or on a line away from the boss. Right? Ad spawned in the passageway here. I just kill him ASAP. I was right next to him, so I killed him. This screen attack is an accuracy debuff, fairly easy to dodge for ranged. There's a safe spot for melee, will take a lot of practice, much more difficult. Don't want to get hit by it. Accuracy debuff is a massive loss of damage. This claw attack that he's doing now will always target one person for all 4 swipes, and it does 4 swipes. No more, no less. Always towards the same person. Now if you are the person he has aggro on, stay away from the rest of your party, so it's easier for them to DPS without having to dodge. That fast attack you just saw him do is a attack debuff, swipe. Very difficult to dodge that one. Just kind of have to take it if it happens to you. The attack he does is what you're doing right here, is he charges up his sword, dashes, and then swings. Now that first dash animation is a very, very long range, so you have to be very careful about dodging that. It'll most likely hit you if you try your normal dodging. So as you see here, he's phasing, right? He phases at about 40% HP. Another thing to point out before we go on to phase 3 is that you'll notice he never did the room-wide AoE attack that most people bring a priest to this dungeon for. The reason he doesn't do that is because we didn't ignore ads, right? We killed the ads as soon as they spawned. We didn't get the debuff, maximized damage on the boss, right? Because if you ignore the ads, what'll happen is they'll cast a defense buff on the boss. It'll go up to 10% defense, I believe. You'll just do overall 10% roughly less damage. Right? That drags the phase out 10% longer and gives them more time to use the room-wide AoE. Especially if you have a priest there. The priest is healing, not doing much damage. You're doing even less damage overall as a party. We can typically always, my party, can almost always skip this AoE with plus 10 or 11 alts unless we get super unlucky with ad spawns. I believe we have about 150 runs of this boss, and I've seen the room-wide AoE maybe twice. We've never ever had a priest. Again, this is the phase that most people need to practice. And you need to communicate with your party before you go in on making sure everyone knows how to handle the ads. You cannot ignore them. Can't stress that enough. Going to phase 3, first thing to note is that everyone should go to one platform. The entire party should stick to one platform. Doesn't really matter which one. I believe the one in the back, right, the one in the middle is the most efficient, because he goes there eventually. But you need to make sure your whole party stays together, because if they split up, he will aggro on one person, and his attack animations move the character model quite far, and it can move it out of the range of the rest of your teammates that just lost DPS and increased dungeon time. He'll do the same attacks in this phase. I should pause here. He will do the same attacks as phase 2. Actually, this is one attack I didn't point out, I just noticed. So this attack, he'll kind of like wind up his sword and swing, and then dash swing. That's another attack, just pretty easy to dodge that one. Fairly obvious animation, that's why I left it out by accident. Same attack animation as the second phase, with the addition of a laser attack that will charge 3 times before firing. Just count the noises it makes, right? 1, 2, 3, then dodge. Pretty straightforward, very easy to do. And another change is that his swipe that inflicts the bleed debuff will only swipe 3 times now instead of 4. Those are the 2 main changes. The next what he'll do, actually I'll pause again here, is he does a set number of attacks. I'm not really sure what the number is, but at the end of those attacks, if his HP is below 30% and above 10%, he will teleport to the middle and do a tornado suction attack. Right, this stuns one person and drags everyone in. What'll happen is the person he pulls in, it gets absorbed. You'll get a debuff above your bar here. Here is a suction. Typically you want to get your weakest person to get grabbed. In this case, I'm the weakest. I'm plus 10. Everyone else is plus 12 or 13 in this party. So I focus on getting grabbed. He grabs the closest person. Worked out. So I get this debuff. Basically, I'm useless for the rest of the fight. I'm absorbed. I can't do anything. Now, what you want to notice here is that he does not get that debuff above his HP bar. Now, I'm not really sure why this happens. I believe the boss is a little glitchy. But if this debuff doesn't appear over here, what'll happen is if his HP is above 10%, he will eventually teleport and do that attack again and suck up a second person. And again, if he still doesn't have it, he'll suck up a third person. I don't really know what causes that. You just got to be careful and want to DPS him down so that you can kind of avoid that happening. So in this case, he doesn't have it. What he'll do is he'll jump to the top, as you'll see, and he'll start attacking immediately. And I don't get dropped. So I'm useless for the rest of the fight. So for this part, if he didn't have the debuff, he would drop me after he jumps here, act stunned for a few seconds, do a kind of a roar that pushes everyone away from him, and then start attacking, right? His 2 attacks here are either the accuracy screen debuffs or slams. It gets very chaotic because the screens are much bigger than before. There aren't too many safe spots when you're trying to dodge it. And the slam hits almost the entire platform. Not the entire platform, but it's a very large range. Pretty chaotic. But what melee classes can do, because they're going to be getting hit by a lot of the screens here, is they can face the boss north or just away from the party so that he casts the screens and slams not on this platform, and people are free to DPS more. That's about it for this dungeon. Hope you guys learned a lot. I don't know if pugs are really gonna speed up much if they don't kill ads, but hopefully for your pre-made parties and your guilds and stuff, when you run this dungeon, you're able to clear it efficiently, under 7 minutes, get everything done, your dungeon runs, get your perfect S rank, 1200 at 1200, and get on to other content that this game has to offer, and enjoy your time playing the games. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.